So I want to know, what kind of Dollar Tree shopper are you? Are you the one that goes in with a list, grabs what you need, and out the door you go? Or are you the shopper that grabs a cart, no time limit, goes down every aisle, and finds all kinds of treasures you never knew you needed? I would be shopper number 2. I have never done an episode on my channel where I used one item and created several different DIYs, and so in today's episode we're going to be using these wood planks to create some super cute Christmas DIYs. For this project, we're going to create a Shabby Santa, and so we're going to use one of those wood planks from the Dollar Tree. I covered it with white Waverly chalk paint, and then I'm using some antique wax and a chippy brush that I pick up on Amazon. I'll link that down below. And I just covered it to give it a distressed look. Then I'd already drawn a nose onto the board, and so I'm using some cashew Waverly chalk paint to fill in the nose. Then I'm going to take these flat wooden beads that I also got on Amazon. I painted them black, and I'm just going to glue them here above the nose for the eyes. To give the eyes a little bit more dimension, I'm going to use my cashew paint, the end of my paintbrush, just to give it a couple dots so you get the inside of the eye, and then we're ready to assemble the Santa. So this Santa hat came from the Dollar Tree, and I got it last year. This is my last Santa hat that I had on hand, but I thought these were super cute. All I'm going to do is kind of gather them in the back here of this wood plank, just to make it more secure and tight in the front. I hot glued the sides, and then I kind of folded it down and hot glued those two sides on top of each other. This holds really well, and you don't have to do any cutting here to make it fit. You could also stuff your hat with some stuffing or the inside of an old pillow to give it a little bit more fluffiness if you wanted to. I folded mine over. Now we're ready to create our beard. And so this fabric came from the Dollar Tree. That is probably one of my most favorite items to buy at the Dollar Tree. I'm constantly buying their rolls of fabric. You can't beat $1.25, and they have a lot of really fun fabric designs. So all I did was cut it and tear it like I normally do, and I'm just going to hot glue it all along the edge of the nose. So this is like the base of our beard. We're going to go ahead and add several other different layers here, but for the first layer you're just going to go one kind of overlapping each other all the way along our wood plank. Once we have that in there, now we're going to go at an angle. So we're just going to put a little bit of hot glue along the edge of those first strips that we put on, and then we're going to glue these fabric pieces at an angle going to the left. We're also going to do that to the right and down in the middle. Once that is completed, we're going to add one more layer of fabric, and we're going to also put those to the side. I do that on both sides. If you feel like your fabric needs, or your beard needs, a little bit more fullness, you can add as much as you want. I did use the entire roll of fabric for this. The one thing that I kind of wish I had done is tea stain or coffee stain the fabric, because that would have gave it a more vintage look, because my board was also distressed. So you could also do that as well. But it turns out super cute without being tea stained as well, so it's totally your preference. So the remaining pieces of the fabric I tied in a shabby bow, and then I went ahead and took the last piece of fabric strip, wrapped it around the middle so you can't see the twine. This is going to be kind of the mustachy part of our beard. We're going to glue that right underneath his nose, and then we're going to kind of fluff it out a little bit. Once we fluff out all of our fabric pieces, the last thing we're going to do is take our scissors and kind of cut it into a shape. I just did a rounded shape like a normal beard. You can also make this as short or as long as you want. It kind of depends on what you're going to do with it or where you're going to display it. If you're going to hang it on the wall, you're going to add a hanger to the back, and you can make this beard as long as you want. If you're going to put it in a easel or something like that as a shelf center, you might want the beard to be a little bit shorter. I decided he needed some rosy cheeks, so I took this like barely pink color from Folk Art chalk paint, and I put it on his cheeks right on the sides of his nose, and here he is, styled in some decor. But the fire keeps us warm. We can spend the night underneath the mistletoe, and I've gotten you a present that I
put under the tree.
Today's video is part of a collab put on by my dear friends Deco Easy. This is a Mr. and Mrs. Claus Travels Around the World. I'm participating with all of these lovely ladies, so make sure you go down into my description box and click on the playlist when this video is over. I also have the links to all the channels so that you can check them out as well. For these projects, we're going to be making 2 Santa signs, and these are really easy DIYs. I just covered them again with my white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm taking some ink Waverly chalk paint and distressing the board first before I use my stencil. So I picked up this stencil pack on Amazon, and it is like some really beautiful stencils. I think there was like 10 stencils altogether. I'll link them down in my description box if you want to check them out, but they were totally worth picking up. They are rather large stencils, so the entire stencil did not fit on my board, but that is okay because I took just a section of my stencil. I used red for the Santa and then the rest of the information about his workshop in black. This one is Santa traveling across the night sky with some trees down in the bottom. It also came from that stencil pack. I just went ahead and stenciled that on. And for this sign, I'm going to go over it with my ink by Waverly to give it a stressed look. You can do either to give it the look you're wanting. It kind of just depends on how you're feeling about going over your design. But here they are, styled in some decor.
The snow is falling down and the storm is on its way, but as long as you're around, everything will be okay. 'Cause all I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you.
For this project, we're going to make a Jingle Bells sign, and this was really easy. All we're going to do is take another one of those wood planks. We're going to cover it with some cashew Waverly chalk paint and then use some antique wax to distress on the top. Now you can also use this with like brown paint on the bottom and covering it with white or an off-white paint on top to give it the distressed look as well. This fabric came from the Dollar Tree, and like I like to do in most of my projects when I use fabric, I'm just going to cut a little piece about an inch and then I tear it. For this one, I had 2 long pieces and 1 shorter piece, and to get the shorter piece, all I did was turn my fabric and cut it a different direction. I picked up these Jingle Bells at Hobby Lobby last year. They are like a rusty, distressed kind of looking bell. I'm going to put my fabric in between the bell, the little piece at the top of the bell. I don't want these to all be the same size, which is why I cut a smaller one. And then I'm going to group them together into the group of 3. Then I took another piece of that same fabric, tied it in a knot, and secured them up at the top. We're going to go ahead and hot glue these bows to the top of our sign. And then to make it look a little bit more like a shabby bow at the top, I took a few more pieces of the fabric. I believe I had about 4 pieces. I tied it off with some twine in the middle, and then I'm just going to glue that to the top of the bells that we glued already onto the wood board. And then here it is, styled in some decor.
I longed for this moment to have you for myself in a cabin out of nowhere, just us and no one else. I've decorated everything till we're perfect for this week.
Do you guys know what time it is? It's time to hit the like button. Don't forget so YouTube knows to send my video to more people so they can be inspired just like you. Let's get back to the DIYs. For this project, we're going to create a Santa Gnome. I absolutely love decorating with Santas. I probably own over 100 of them. They're my favorite way to decorate at Christmas, and I collect them. I get them each year. Let me know what you like to collect for Christmas or if you decorate with anything specific, but I'm always looking for ways to make super cute Santa decorations just because they're my favorite. let me know if you'd like to see a home tour when Christmas time comes around, because like I said, I have so many Santas. So we're going to take some of that buffalo check fabric from the Dollar Tree again, and we're just going to add it to the top of our wood sign. You could also stuff this with any kind of batting or a pillow insert if you wanted to give it more like stuffiness in the top. I chose not to do that. So we're just going to glue that to the back, and then I'm going to take a piece of twine, wrap it around the top, and I'm going to just tie it in a couple knots to put it in place and be secure. I'm going to then take the top of my hat and then kind of fold it down and glue it. That way it's not flopping around and it's secure, like bent over. That's optional. You can do whatever you'd like at the top of your hat. So I had this ribbon that I also picked up from Hobby Lobby. It's like a burlap Merry Christmas ribbon. I'm going to wrap that around my fabric to give it like the brim of the hat. And then I took this like dusting pad or mopping pad that they have at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to glue that to the front of my sign for his beard. Then I took a wooden bead that I picked up from Amazon, and I'll link those down in the description box, but you can pick wooden beads up also at the Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. I'm just going to glue that into the middle for his nose, and then for one little bit of added touch, I had this extra star that I got from Hobby Lobby that was a tree topper, and I glued that to the top, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Another year went by, but the difference this time is that ever since July, I've been happy.
For this project, I'm going to create a wooden present, and again, I just covered my board with some white Waverly chalk paint. I didn't distress this one at all. I'm going to take this red chevron ribbon that they have at the Dollar Tree. This is wired ribbon, and I'm just going to take a piece and glue it lengthwise, and then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to take a piece and glue it like the horizontal way. Once I get those glued onto the back of the wooden board, then the rest of this project is super simple. You're just going to add a bow. So if you don't feel like you're a very good bow maker, that is okay. They also sell pre-made bows at Hobby Lobby and Dollar Tree, and it would look just as cute to put a pre-made bow here as well. I am going to show you how I create a bow. I'm just going to loop it over like 3 or 4 times. I get like the desired size that I want, and then I take a zip tie and I'm just going to zip tie those pieces together. Then I'm going to set that portion aside, and I'm going to do that about 3 times. Once I have all 3 of those pieces zip tied together, then I'm going to take one final zip tie and zip tie all the pieces of the bow together. I have a longer tutorial on how to do this bow, and I will link it up here in the cards and down in my description box if you want to check out how to do that. Once I get all the pieces together, like I said, I'm going to take a zip tie, I'm going to zip tie that together, and then we're going to add it to our wooden present. I'm just using hot glue here. Any kind of glue that's going to secure it in a really good hold. If you're securing it on like something other than that has like a place to add another zip tie, you could use a zip tie as well. These bows are really versatile and you can use them on all kinds of DIY projects. So I went ahead and dovetailed the ends, and then I took this little Santa cutout that I picked up at Hobby Lobby last year. I'm going to glue that kind of to the bottom part of our bow to give it like a gift tag look, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Than I have ever been. It's safe to say that my love for you is true. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you. I've longed for this moment.
So you guys, I had so much fun coming up with these projects, all based around these wood planks that I found at the Dollar Tree. So if this is your kind of video where you like to see that one item turned into several different DIYs, then go down to the comments below, leave me a comment and let me know so I know to make more videos like this. Check out these videos right here if you would like to continue getting some Christmas inspiration. And as always, wherever you are in your journey is a perfect place to start. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.